Very good afternoon to all the participants. On behalf of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, I welcome you all for this last day. There is a sixth day of the 1 week online faculty development program on cyber security, which is jointly organized by the Department of Information Technology and the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering. Before going to today's session, I'd like to give a recap of what we discussed during all the past 5 days. On the first day, we discussed about the introduction of cyber security and ethical hacking. And on the second day, we discussed about the social engineering and what is social engineering and what are the attacks like that. On the third day, we discussed about password cracking, and the fourth day, we discussed about the cryptography and steganography. And yesterday, we discussed about what is the future scope of the cyber security and related things regarding that. Today, we are going to discuss about the IT Act 2000, that is the cyber laws and crime laws, if possible, some case studies. And at the end of today's session, we are having an online assessment. So with this brief introduction, now I invite one of the trainer of this faculty development program, Shifa, to address the gathering. Madam, welcome, madam.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anto, for the introduction. So, before starting, I would like to tell you the disclaimer that I am not an official lawyer or a person who is very much expert into cyber laws and crime, but still, according to my research and what all I have learned and gathered from internet sources, I will be taking a session because I feel case studies and the things related to this cyber crimes and law are necessary. The sessions or the development program couldn't end without that. So I'll quickly share my slide. Okay. Sir, my slides are visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam, it is visible.
Okay. Okay, so the topic for today's discussion is cybercrime and laws. So this is what I said earlier, that I am not a lawyer or an expert, but still there are something that I have gathered. I just do not guarantee about the articles number and sessions written in the presentation. I am not very sure, and I did not got any source to verify it. But still, I have collected a lot to mention and just to share with you all. So the session is purely based on educational purpose. So what is a cyber crime? A crime which is executed with the help of computer or telecommunication technology. Any device related to computer or any other smart device, now we can say, is included to perform a crime. So then the crime is known as a cyber crime, a crime in which computer is used as a subject or an object. So there are majorly three categories of cybercrime. First is crime against people. Second is crime against property, and third is crime against government. So let's see what are the crime performed against an individual. So cyber harassment, cyber stalking, distribution of child pornography, credit card fraud, human trafficking, spoofing, identity theft, online label and slanders. So these are some attacks which are performed under against individuals. So I hope all are written in a very easy format so that you can directly understand the frauds related to credit card. Let's say a bank call you and then ask for your details, or some random person gives you money in exchange of your credit card. So this kind of things happens daily. I have seen some frauds wherein a person will call you and say, give me your credit card to use. Let's say your credit card limit is 70,000. So the person will claim that he will give you on cash 70,000, and in return you give him the credit card. So this kind of frauds happens, and we have seen I have personally seen and read a lot about it. Spoofing is an example. Email spoofing, we already have seen against government email spoofing attack, wherein I have shown a example of passport seva uh, website I have used to do the spoofing. So this kind of things happens. Identity theft, under this, some attacks I would like to share are, let's say I am a person and I randomly got anyone's Aadhaar card while I was roaming around the airport. So what I did, I used that Aadhaar card to get a SIM card from the person's name. You know, using Aadhaar card and a fake signature, we can easily get a SIM card. So this all attacks can be done against the individual. I have written more detail about it in the next slides. So the second category is cybercrime against property. Unauthorized computer using through cyberspace, and then computer vandalism, transmission of harmful program, unauthorized possession of computer information. I have written all the examples in further slides, like what does I mean by this. So you can understand about a property like illegally going or taking a possession of anyone's property. This kind of crime have came across. And then a person who is living or a tenant of yours make fake documents of your property. So this kind of things that happens comes, fake documents again use a computer as a medium. So then this it will be categorized under this cybercrime. Your fake signatures are been done digitally to get your property, and your fake documents are uploaded. So this kind of things that happens comes under the cybercrime against property. So what are the crimes that happens against government? So against government, hacking of government website. There was a trend that was going on, propaganda that hack Pakistani website. So this kind of things, they Pakistan is also a government. So some people tied up, they were spreading so many hate messages against Pakistan, and then they gathered up, they make a community, and then they try to defame a government or a national property of the website. So this kind of things happens. So that kind of crime comes under this cyber crime against government. Hacking government websites, military website, distributing of propaganda, and cyber terrorism are types of. We see a lot of terrorist groups, and then they plan now. All the plans that they do are done digitally. So that is cyber terrorism, to spread the hatred against any party, against any individual part of a government. Other common crimes are spamming, SMS spoofing, email spoofing, carding, zip bomb, fork bomb, virus, trojan, ransomware, and illegal downloads. So I guess most of the things we have already discussed. Only about the bombs and carding we haven't discussed, but the other things I think in the rest 5 days we have covered. So carding is something wherein we generate using technology some fake cards, like some fake credit card numbers and CVVs, etc. And then we use it on the websites to shop, etc. So this is a technique. And bombing is something wherein you create, this is similar like malware. So in this, what we do is, file, when you download that zip file, it will extract a lot of data which your computer isn't able to handle, and it will crash your computer, and eventually your computer will die. So this kind of techniques are known as zip bomb and fork bombs. So here I have case studies. So the first is, cyber police has arrested a husband for misusing his wife's Facebook account. In a cyber case in India, he hired an ethical hacker to hack into his wife's Facebook account so that he can find the pieces of evidence regarding her bad character. So this has happened. So what is the outcome? What we should learn from this is, never ever log in through anyone else's account, knowingly or unknowingly. If you do so, it is considered as a cyber crime. Second is, using the Trojan or a malware. A woman's webcam was accessed to capture her private videos and posted on illegal website. The incident came into light when Mumbai resident appeared for an interview. So never ever any publicly available malwares or hacking tools for breaking into anyone's account, or also always never access any third party tools or visit any third party website which is not trusted or secured. This is all we have already discussed, so I'm just going quickly. So the case study number 3 is the cyber fraud case of duplication of a SIM card was registered with the police when businessman from Ahmedabad caught wind of it. He registered a complaint under a cyber and financial crime since the defrauders has submitted fake documents with the mobile company to gain businessman's personal detail. So this is the third case study, and what we should learn from this is never ever try to buy SIM card with fake identities, or never share your personal identity proof to anyone from for any amount of money. And also I have discussed about dumpster diving, wherein they take your data from dumps. So make sure that when you throw your important document, even if it is outdated, make sure you shred it and do not just throw it or crush it. The fourth case study here I have is in a social media related cybercrime complaint. A famous Gujarati singer claimed that her photos were being used by an unknown man, saying that they were married and had child together. So, what is the outcome? Never ever post a lot of your pictures on social media, which can further be misused. So the next case study I have is to gain personal revenge. An ex-boyfriend working as a software engineer posted his ex's personal phone number on a 24/7 dating service helpline. Was arrested in leading cybercrime case. So what is the outcome? The outcome here is never post or share anyone's number on any blog, website, or any other sources without their prior permission. So what is Cyber Laws and IT Act 2000? This act is this act provides a legal framework for electronic governance by giving recognition to electronic records and digital signature. It also defines cyber crimes and prescribes penalties for them. So IT Act was notified on October 17, 2000. That's why the name is IT Act 2000, because of the year. Cyber crime scenarios. So the first scenario I have here is harassment via fake public profile on social networking site. A fake profile of a person is created on a social networking site with the correct address of residential information and contact details, but they are labeled as prostitute or a person of a loose character. This leads to harassment of the victim. So here I have written what are the provisions applicable to this crime. So section 66A, 67 of IT Act and section 509 of Indian Penal Code. Okay, so the next I have is online hate community. Online hate community is created inciting a religious group to act or pass objectionable remark against a country, national figures, etc. So here are some acts which acts or provisions which are applicable to such crimes. Email account hacking. If a victim's email account is hacked or absence, emails are sent to the people in victim's address book. So here are the provisions which are applicable: section 43, 66, 66A, 66C, and so on. Credit card fraud. Unsuspecting victims would use infected computers to make online transactions. So here are some provisions applicable. If you want to know more about cyber laws, so here I have a PDF. I have shared the link of this PDF. I'll share this link into the chat box. Here I have written more about it, so you can go through the whole PDF. What are the crimes and what are the provisions applicable? So you can follow us on LinkedIn. I have written all the handles of my team. If any doubt on this, we can discuss. And any other doubt? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, participants, if you have any query, you can post your query in the chat box, or you can directly ask the questions.
Ma'am, hello, good afternoon.
Yeah.
We have got mails like that, your 1 crores, or even messages, SMS we get. But if we report, will it be really very effective? How is it like a normal policing, or cybercrime acts little different than a normal police, or how is it exactly?
Okay, so where to report and how do they respond to your queries? Is this what you are asking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. If I report, is it fine, or will they take action?
Yes, there are different portals to report a cyber crime, especially they are made to report cyber crimes. In Maharashtra as well, it is there is a website, I guess Rohit has shared during his talk. Rohit, if you can share the website name, I am slight confused with it. And there are few more for all India, and then state wise we have different websites where we can report cyber crime, especially even though you can report the phishing scams if you are getting emails from different random sources luring you, or you are getting SMS, phishing SMS, and so on. So, and also they keep on doing the surveys whether you or any of your family member or relative has been a part of any cyber crime, so please mention. I have seen a survey yesterday itself, so they hire a lot of interns who message you personally, or they post it in groups conducting a survey, and all the surveys are then been sent to the government, and then they take necessary actions against this. So Rohit, if you can share your slide and just write the website name. Okay, here I have US. Jerry, is this the one?
Yeah, so I'll share it, just a second. So in case, let me just share my screen. Yeah, my screen is visible.
Yes, Rohit. It's no. There's some issue with his network. I feel Rohit has left the conversation. I posted a query. Let me scroll and see. Okay. Most of the time, Google resources material for ebook. What are the suggestions to? See, when you are searching on Google about internet materials, ebooks, so make sure that they are trusted ones. Do not start downloading it from a new website. I would say the websites which are trusted, and if it is official, then it's the best. The official website also hosts the ebooks, etc. So you can go ahead by downloading that, but then there is no such legal, but then you should take care what you are downloading is purely authentic. And also to avoid any unnecessary malware or something, we have discussed in the previous section that you can always use virtual environments to open your documents PDF. You can read your ebook in virtual environment like Sandboxy, and once you are done, you close the environment. All the things that are been attached in background with the books will be no more effective, as in all the virus that comes along with the book will not infect your host environment. So this can be done. Will cyber, if we give complaints? I am not getting this question. Will cybercrime take action if we complain with supporting document? Yes, if you have legal document, you can file your e-complaint, what you say, e-FIR, and then they will take the necessary action. Yes, when you are downloading anything like open data set related to healthcare, banking, etc. Yes, there are chances, but then to avoid that, we can always use a virtual environment. This is what I'm saying again and again, because all the questions are similar. So yes, you can use. Even if it is a Trojan, it will change itself and maybe it turn to be a exe file or something, but you run it into the virtual environment, then your base OS will not be infected at all. So you can handle it in this way.
Ma'am, is that inbuilt Microsoft's virtual hard disk is also useful for this purpose?
Microsoft virtual hard disk. Is
Yes,
this?
Microsoft, no, we can make a virtual hard disk. Is this as equivalent to Sandboxy or it's something different?
Sandboxy is just a software which is very handy, and that is the whole environment. So you can use your whole virtual environment, or you can use just a software to deal with small files, etc. So each time, like, it is very handy. You just have to right click, and the way you open your application, just open with Sandboxy. So you don't have to do any extra steps, and the things will be kept in your host OS, and the running environment will be the Sandboxy, and in that case the whole things are kept into the separate environment.
So hi Shifa, sorry for interfering.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually his question is good, but the thing is, even though if you are using a Microsoft virtual hard disk, if you're having your private data or anything important files are over there in the hard disk too, it will be harmful. Other than that, it is safe. It is
Yeah,
almost
that's
similar to
what
the
I am
the
trying to say. Like, if the environment where it is stored, it can be, but then the execution makes the Trojans and other malwares active. So when you are executing it, make sure that you use the environment or a software which takes care of that. Working inside a virtual machine will solve the problem.
Yeah, so sorry for the interruption, Shifa. So there was a question that was asked regarding reporting of phishing and cybercrime. So let me just share my screen. So my screen is visible, right? So for people who live in Maharashtra, they can always report the phishing emails, as I have already shown this: fraud website, fraud phone call, fraud email, fraud SMS. Everything can be reported to this Maharashtra Cyber Anti-Phishing Unit. Okay, they will take care of whatever fraud has been happened to you. In case you want to report cyber crime, cyber crime that has happened, phishing, a fraud, you can always file a report on this National Cybercrime Reporting Portal. It is very simple. You just have to click over here, file a complaint, and you have to file a complaint based on this. They will create a ticket for you, and then it can be solved in the same similar manner. There is one more thing, which is this particular web page. This is by the cybercrime portal, cybercrime.gov.in portal only, where they have given the state-wise and the union territory-wise the names of the nodal cyber cell officers as well as the grievance officer details. For faster response according to your state, you can directly contact them using the email address that have been given, as well as the contact phone numbers which they have given. So you can directly send your email to them, and your query will be resolved as soon as possible. So basically, these are for the faster responses according to your states. There is a list given for all the particular states and their emails as well as the phone numbers. You can contact them in case you have been a victim of a cybercrime, or in case you want to report anything which you think is suspicious or a fraud which has been circulating everywhere. You can just report it here so others do not fall prey to those particular scams. Yes. So I hope this is helpful.
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes,
there
sir. I got it. It is very. Yeah, I understood, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So there was one more question. You mean working inside a virtual machine will solve the problems of becoming a victim to Trojans and malwares? Okay. So basically, the first thing that you should know when you want to protect yourself from any types of malwares is do not randomly click anywhere. First of all, analyze whatever you are doing onto the internet. If you are blindly installing any or downloading software inside a virtual machine,
There is some issue with Rohit's internet. I don't know what.
So he is disconnected.
Feels like I cannot see him here.
Okay, okay, fine, fine.
I am clueless what he was about to explain. Otherwise, I would have continued.
He is about to explain the same thing which we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
So if you are using a virtual machine, if you are downloading a Trojan, the effect will be the same and the consequence will be the same, unless you are having a empty drive so that you are using for a sandbox environment.
Any other questions we have from all the previous sessions?
Yeah, we are having lots and lots of time, so you can make use of these things.
Till then, I'll share the PDF which I have hosted, so you can go through it. I have pasted the link.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Okay. Yeah, I can see one more message. I'd like to answer this. In the world of social networking, we have a habit of forwarding the message or videos without verifying it, any inputs. So yes, this is a habit which I feel everyone is supposed to change and everyone have to change, because a lot of 90% of the message that we get from forwarded source are totally useless, and there is nothing such that happens. Forward to 10 people, you will get 50 rupees recharge, you will get 500 rupees, you will get what and what not. So by understanding all this thing, what the WhatsApp has taken an initiative is, initially when you used to forward any message, we cannot see that forwarded thing, but then after understanding and all this, WhatsApp have come up with a feature which says the message is forwarded, just to make the user aware that the person who has sent the message is not the owner or the creator of the message. Because if I am getting any message from a friend I trust the most, if he says that click on the link and you will get 50 rupees, so I might trust the person, so or I will trust the person, right? Because most of the times in the message it is written it's verified, I have got it, you also try it. So this kind of things happens, and this eventually lead to a crime and make us download any bad things or any malware. So then WhatsApp have started this forwarded thing to make sure that the message is not at all created by the person in your contact list. The person has also get this from any other source. So yes, stop forwarding the message without verifying it. I would suggest, uh, even if you feel that the message is genuine, but do not forward until and unless you are 100% sure, because this creates a lot of problem. To me, if someone is sending any phishing link, so I may detect it and I may not forward it, but to the 9 other people you are sending, out of that even 1 or 2 people trusted it, and then they send it to 10 different people, so again 20 will be infected. So stop, I would say, at an individual level, we should stop forwarding all the untrusted, unsourced or forwarded messages. Yeah, if it is a joke or something, you can surely forward, but then no message with links. Any message which consists of any link or some attachments, do not forward it.
Ma'am, this question is regarding the fourth day's steganography's question with Mr. Jerry. In that steganographic tools, is it possible to just brief a little bit about that one more time?
Okay, steganography. So steganography is a art wherein we hide any data behind some file or music file. You can say video file, audio file. You can bind your data. The data behind your binding can be anything. Again, a image or text or malware or any other extension file. So you want to see the practical again, or you are confused in the concept how it is done or something?
No, Mr. Jerry showed one nice slide in the first, I think, with that some steganographic tools. But before we could know, I could note it down. I think if we can show the slide, or it started with futureboy.us and showed more details which he gave. But
Yeah, 1 minute. I can just share the slide again. Just give me 1 minute. I'll share.
thank you, Mr. Jerry.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes, if you download and then you share, so there is no forwarded, but still WhatsApp has taken care when you are forwarding without verifying it or directly forward. But then when you are downloading and intentionally you are taking that thing from your attachment and you are sending it, so then it's your responsibility that you are harming your people only. So you have to make sure at your end that you are not forwarding any bad thing or any other malware which can cause problem to others.
So this is the slide which I have used for steganography. So am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
Jerry, audible.
Okay, fine. So you want to just note the site, or you want me to explain again?
No, so I just wanted to note the site. Now I got it. I
Okay,
noted
fine.
it down. I
Yeah.
understood the explanation. That was very nice that day, but I just forgot to note down the site. Thank you very much.
Okay. Welcome.
Sir, so already there is a recorded video is already available in the YouTube, and you can see that link also. The demo also there. So the recorded video is already uploaded.
Rohit, you were about to explain something and then you disconnected about the virtual hard disk thing.
Yes, Shifa. So I was just explaining about the virtual environment question that someone asked into the chat box. So someone just asked, are we safe from malwares if we are running into a virtual machine? So basically, I was saying that you are protecting yourself when you are running into a virtual machine. So basically, if you come across any malware, okay, and you are into a virtual machine, that chances are high that that particular malware will infect your virtual machine, okay, but your host machine will not be infected and will remain isolated. So the best practice would be you do not keep any sensitive information into your virtual machine. Okay, keep all your sensitive data into your host machine. For example, let's say you're running onto a Windows operating system. Keep all your sensitive files, data into the Windows operating system. And for the links or softwares that you do not trust, just open up your virtual machine. How to install a virtual machine? You can just go to Google and you can search for how to install a virtual machine. It is very simple. You just need two softwares. First is a virtual box or VMware. You can install that. And inside that virtual box, you can run a virtual operating system like Windows or Linux. Okay. After installation of the virtual machine, if you do not trust any links or any particular data which is from an unverified or untrusted source, you can just simply go on there and you can run all those files or downloadables into the virtual machine. In case there is a malware, it will only impact your virtual machine. Okay. And the best thing about the virtual machine is you can reset the virtual machine at any time. So let's say if your virtual machine is infected with a ransomware, okay, then it is not such that you need to pay the amount to the attacker or the ransomware. Okay, there is an option where you can just reset your virtual machine and it will again start from the fresh machine. Okay, but the most important thing that I would recommend is you should always first analyze whatever you are doing. Okay, so in case you are still using a virtual machine but you are unknowingly clicking on all the downloadable links, you are deliberately clicking every second link which contains a harmful malware, ransomware, something like that. Okay, so basically you are not enriching your best practices. The first and the foremost thing is learn the best practices. First, analyze whatever you're going to click. Okay, first analyze and then only click on these types of link or install these types of softwares which are from an unverified source. You can also install a sandbox environment in case you want. So a sandbox and a virtual machine will work for all the files which you do not trust and you are downloading from an unverified source. But the main thing is start a digital hygiene. Make your good habits regarding the digital hygiene and how you can first analyze before clicking in any link. Okay.
Hello, Mr. Rohit.
Yes.
Yeah, so you mean like in the virtual machine, I have a shared folder, okay, and I have downloaded the data set into that, which may be infected one or something like that. So when I open this file from my host operating system, so will it also be getting infected?
So very good question. So in case you in your host machine, if you have a folder and you have shared that folder into your virtual machine, okay? So in the
Yeah.
virtual machine, if you are doing any changes to that particular folder or else to that particular file, you are giving your consent that those files should be modified and editable. Okay. So in case you uh, your virtual machine gets infected with some type of malware and those particular malware have access to those chat folders, there are chances that your chat folder files may also get infected in their host OS. Okay. So recommendation, do not share folders from your host OS to the inside machine. Okay, so in case you want those files that need to be edited from your host OS, if you need those folders and files, what you can do is just make a copy. You can drag and drop those files or folders into a virtual machine. So just make a standalone a new copy of those files and you can modify into those files. And let's say after the modification, you want the new modified files back to your host OS, you can just drag and drop again to the host OS. Okay, so you can do it this way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Pankaj Bhussari has asked, to be a professional ethical hacker, what are the prerequisite and certification required, and from where I can do the certification? So I think this question is already asked in the previous session when Shifa took the how to start your career in cybersecurity. So there is a video recording already available in which she has explained very nicely that how you can start your certification, to which certification you start, from which body you can do that certification, what are the prerequisites, what are the basics that you can learn from. So you can just refer to that particular video and it will answer your question. Also, one more good practice that everyone can follow is whenever you come across any file, let's say any data, let's say it's a PDF file, a song, music, movie, software, anything, first check the file uh, is infected by a malware or not. So how will you test it? Just take that file and upload it on VirusTotal. Okay, this is very good. And in terms of you want to do the first check that the file is infected or not. If the file is not coming from a trusted source, you just go onto this website, which is virustotal.com. After going onto that website, you can just drag and drop your file, or you can upload your file, and that particular VirusTotal website will check your file against famous 60 to 65 famous antiviruses signatures. So those antiviruses have those signatures. They will test the file for you. And in case it says the file is infected, you should not run or execute that file onto your system. You should immediately remove or delete that file. Any community platform for learning cybersecurity. So there are many sources from where you can learn about cybersecurity. The first very good sources are open source blogs. You can also watch NPTEL videos which are given by Government of India. There are IIT professors which are explaining about basics of cybersecurity. Although there are no more practicals into those videos, but they are good if you want to kickstart and want to learn about the basics of cybersecurity. One of the good sources, NPTEL videos by government. Second good sources, you need to constantly be updated by reading the news. Two good sources are the Hacker News. You can just type the Hacker News and you'll come across that website. And second good source is GB Hackers. Apart from these two, you can always constantly read about good blogs where people keep writing about their journey of cybersecurity on medium.com. You can just note down, it is medium.com, wherein you'll read, you'll have a good a couple of resources when people keep writing about cybersecurity. Apart from them, you can also follow us on YouTube. We keep on updating cybersecurity basics, cybersecurity interview questions, and what you should do regarding cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So you can follow us on YouTube as well. Our YouTube handle is Hacktify Cybersecurity. Then you will learn about default things about cybersecurity. Ashifa has already pasted the link into the chat box. You can follow that particular link for the YouTube video. Oh, we constantly keep on coming online on YouTube. We are also coming back online today itself at 9 p.m. where we are going to talk about the tools that you can use for your cybersecurity and ethical hacking, and as well as pen testing journey. Top 5 tools. We are going to discuss about top 5 tools. So in case you have time and you want to watch it, you can come online at 9 o'clock. We are going to come live and discuss about top tools in cybersecurity. Anyone has any more questions, or we can start with the assessment. Shifa, you have the assessment, right?
Yes, Rohit. Even I have shared with ma'am, HOD
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it is shared into the chat box. So anyone has any more questions or doubts for any session that we had or today's session? Yeah, so I can see the recorded session link are given into the chat box. Everyone can follow those recorded sessions links. Also, I've seen that recorded sessions go live on YouTube as well. So you can follow the YouTube channel and you can watch those videos as well. Provide mail ID or contact address. Okay, so in case you want to get in touch with anyone of us or from the Hacktify team, you can always get in touch with us on LinkedIn. You can get in touch onto LinkedIn, as well as you can send us emails. Shifa's email is shifa@hacktify.in. My email is rohit@hacktify.in. You can get in touch with us in case you have any queries, or else you can get in touch with us on LinkedIn. We are always connected on LinkedIn. Yeah, Gary, thank you so much. You have shared our email address, so you guys can in case you have any doubts, you can get in touch with us. 9 o'clock link, please. Okay, so for the 9 o'clock session, there is no link made. You can just directly go on YouTube. We are going to come live, so you can just go to our channel. The channel name is Hacktify Cybersecurity. Shifa had shared the channel. You can just be online at 9 o'clock. And in case you have any questions for that particular session as well, you can post your questions there directly, and we'll be taking up your questions live.
Sir, I don't know if I will have time later. I would like to thank the organizers in JVS College, everyone, and the team. You three, I attended, in fact, three such webinars in this lockdown, but which were very short time. But this one was very useful, and you all the three were very clear and very simple. And your explanation, even coming from a non-computer background, I've learned a lot, and I'm planning to get into a profession very soon. Yes, thank you for the Xavier's College, the whole team, and this team, all the three, Mr. Rohit, Mr. Shifa, and Mr. Jerry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Any other feedback from the participant side? Anyone wish to say the feedback about the past 5 days?
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Ma'am?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, it was actually a wonderful session, ma'am. What to tell, there is many new things we have learned from you, ma'am. And it was really a practical session too. And also you are easily approachable person, it seems to be. Okay, you're very friendly to us. You're answering all the questions raised by us. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I wholeheartedly thank all your team members, Shifa ma'am and Rohit sir and all others. Thank you. It was a wonderful session. And also I thank our HOD and Andrews ma'am, then Software Salon members, Dryjus, Varun for arranging such a wonderful session. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
It was a very
Any other
useful session, and we were getting a lot of information about cyber related issues. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other feedback? So we came to the end of the session. So I request the experts to give some concluding words. Mr. Rohit, please concluding session.
Yes, of course. So I would really like to thank St. Xavier's organizing team, those who are the faculties into the organizer team. Thank you for making actually this happen. This was a wonderful 6 days program that we have, the faculty development program. You were very spontaneous in this particular session, and we are very grateful to all the faculty members, first of all, to the principal sir for making this actually happen, where we are able to discuss about multiple domains of cybersecurity. So we just not into a very depth, but of course we are able to tell everyone about what actually the domains are and what actually things happen into each domain. We also had many talks regarding cybersecurity awareness, which will be, I think, very helpful into their personal life as well as professional life in their future. Also, I would like to thank, apart from the faculty members, to all the attendees who were attending all the seminars for all the days. I saw that the count was really very good. More than 100 people were joining every day, which shows the attendees and the participants were very enthusiastic, and they were actually very excited to learn about the things about cybersecurity into this faculty development program. So second thing is very helpful. I'm very grateful and I'm very happy about all the attendees that they took their time into this afternoon. I can understand this afternoon is very crucial for everyone, because there are people who have their lunch, there are housewives who have to make their lunch, and they have children and everything at their home, but they're still taking out their 1 hour time, precious time, to attend this particular webinar. So I'm very helpful. I'm very grateful and I'm very happy for all the attendees, the participants who gave their time, invested their time, and we hope that we were able to help them by giving some knowledge about cybersecurity. Also, I would like to thank the principal sir again, that this actually went possible, and this was a very successful webinar. At the end, we are happy that every one of you liked whatever we tried to teach into this particular days for at least for 1 hour. Apart from this, all the participants were very active in asking the questions. They were very curious about asking the questions, and also they were very fast when we asked any questions at the quiz time. So it gives me immense pleasure to tell that yes, this was really a success from our side as well as the organizers side. So I'm really helpful, and we look forward for more such programs wherein we can get in touch with all people like this and spread cybersecurity awareness and make people aware about cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and how to create digital hygiene and digital awareness to every one of us. At the end, I would like to thank Ms. Shifa for taking out her time, and Jerry for taking out his time for this session and giving out their information, utilizing their time in making the presentations and giving their time and information knowledge to every one of us. So thank you to the organizer team. Thank you for the audience for connecting and learning a lot of knowledge. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Rohit. I request Shifa to give some concluding words.
I don't have much to say because I think Rohit has already covered everything. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for conducting it and making it possible. Even we got the opportunity to interact with you all, the amazing faculties, members of St. Xavier's College, and we are very grateful. And the 6 days are really a huge success for us, and I feel that we have met your expectations. I think we have tried our best to gather a lot of information and to deliver it to you in a very easy way, even if you belong to any other domain. So it was not much in depth, we know that, but still it is good to start with. But in upcoming, if we conduct, so we can go slight more deep, because now we know the topics which we have already covered and the basics are already cleared. So in future we can go ahead with some more live on demonstration, and we hope to connect you back. It was very great to connect you all, and it was all interactive. I personally liked it a lot. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Shifa. Now I invite Jerry to give some concluding words.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, I'm feeling very happy to give a talk where I have been brought up and where I have been studied. I got lot of exposure from our college, and I feel very proud to be here in this webinar giving a talk to my staff members. Also, it is like each and every words have been expressed by Shifa and Rohit, so nothing much more. Be aware of things what you have take away from the webinar, and make sure that we make a nation cyber safe. Whatever you learned, you just share with your colleagues, one who have missed the webinars. Yeah, ma'am, that's it, ma'am. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jerry. Now I request Dr. R.P. Andrew Kumar sir, the coordinator of the FTP, to give a concluding session.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. First of all, I have to thank Andros, madam, because she only initiated this topic and found out the correct resource person, the opted resource person. For that, I thank you very much, madam, for your coordination. Also, I thank Jerry, our alumni, because he helped us to organize this event. Also, I thank Rohit and Shifa for the wonderful sessions. At this juncture, this is the to express our gratitude. I have to thank our management, our principal, deans, all the HODs, and all the faculty members, and all the participants who are here with us for the last 1 week. I thank all of you for your participation. Also, I thank the organizing team members who support me, Bright Jose, Varun, and Anthony Jones Kumar, all three. They are behind all the activities of our webinars, faculty development programs, and the workshops. A few information to all the participants. And next, we are planning for another webinar, not a webinar, faculty development program, or it may be like a workshop for 1 week. It will be on MATLAB. So the information will be shared to you shortly. We are planning to conduct it from the second week of July. So we will be sharing those information. I request all to join in that faculty development programs and get benefited. Once again, the co-organizer Andros madam and the organizing team members, Bright Jose, Varun, Anthony sir, for making this event a wonderful one. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Varun sir, you want to share anything? Varun sir, you do a concluding session.
Ma'am, Andros ma'am, and Andrew sir, thank you very much. And Bright Jose is doing entire organizing things, and we need to congratulate and thank Bright Jose for such a wonderful thing. The entire 6-day session was organized by him, and I want to thank Andros ma'am and Andrew sir and Anthony sir for their constant support. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun. Bright Jose, you want to say some concluding words?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the organizing, especially for this workshop. Is really this FTP is really wonderful. I thank to this resource person, Mr. Rohit and Ms. Shifa and Mr. Jerry, and a special thanks to the team as well as the organizers, Dr. Antos sir and Andros ma'am, Mr. Varun and Anthony sir. So I'm thanking everyone. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anthony sir is there. Sir, you want to say something in the concluding part? Anthony sir? Let's give a vote of thanks.
Yeah, dear participants, we have shared the feedback and online assessment link on the chat box. as well as the recorded video links also available. So please utilize all these things. Thank you. Yeah, ma'am. Andros, ma'am, we can go ahead.
Okay. It's very much happy and pleasure to thank you everyone for this wonderful FDP on security. First of all, I thank the God Almighty for making this FDP a grand success. I thank our management, correspondent principal for encouraging us to conduct this type of workshops and webinars during this pandemic. Next, I would like to thank the resource persons from Factify Cybersecurity, Mumbai. Especially, we are very happy to have such a wonderful team for their coordination and conducting this type of FTP in a lively manner. First, I thank Mr. Rohit Gautam, founder of Cybersecurity, Factify Cybersecurity. He is a cybersecurity expert, public speaker, and an entrepreneur. He gave a wonderful interactive and lively presentation on securing ads from hackers, malware, then PGP demonstration on PGP, and how to do bug bounties. And even he handled so many answers for the queries. You are very much attracted to your way of teaching and handling the session. You are very much thankful to you. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Ms. Shiva, the co-founder of Factify Cybersecurity. She is very much interested to empower women in the field of technology, especially in cybersecurity. She gave a wonderful presentation on social engineering, attacks in social engineering, phishing, and the future scope in cybersecurity, and also the today's session, IP laws, and also other other case studies. So we are very thankful to you. Especially, I thank Shifa for making all the arrangements from the expert side, starting from fixing the dates, then scheduling the topics, and preparing assessment question, everything. He will done everything in a friendly manner. On behalf of management and CSE and the IT department of SXCCE and from the participants, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Shiva. Next, I thank our alumnus, Mr. Jerry. She is very special to us because he oftenly visits our college and converse with all the staff members, and he is one who made this FDP into reality. He is a he supported everything on the back end. We don't have any words to express our thanks. Thank you, Jerry. Next, I thank the organized team members, especially Dr. RP Andrew Kumar sir, the coordinator of this FDP. Earlier in one month before itself, he started us to give a plan, or he wanted to conduct these type of FDPs. So from there itself, we have started this work. So with the help of him, this FDP came into reality. Thank you, Andrew. Next, I thank Anthony sir, our sister admin. He always gives some valuable suggestions in each and every moment to make this FDP a grand success. And I thank Varun. He's a passionate designer. Actually, he designed everything starting from browser to certificates, and he communicated with all the participants and made this workshop a grand success. Thank you, Varun. And next, I thank Bright Jose. He is hosting this FDP on the Teams. So thank you, Bright. Next, I thank all the participants from various colleges and also from our college. So every day we have interactive and also very attentive sessions. So with the help of you only it will be happen. And also from the resource person side, they are very happy to have this type of attendees as well as participants. And everyone has understood the concepts and also secure our devices, that is people, public, as well as the government from vulnerability. So finally, I thank everyone for making this FDP a grand success. Once again, I thank the expert team members to achieve more laurels in the coming days. Thank you and all. So, dear participants, if you have any doubts regarding to the feedback as well as the certificates, you can clarify at any time. So, we the organizing team always help, and the recorded sessions are available in the FDP web page and also live in YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
Bright, please check the feedback entry. If it is okay, then we can wind up the session.